my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. Hot wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard.
Good morning, my friend. How are you today?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show.
Big day today. Going to have a frontline conversation with a sitting U.S. congressman to discuss what's going on in Washington, D.C. We've been alluding to and traipsing around and kicking back and forth Kevin McCarthy for several months now. Going to find out straight from one of the men that voted. Why, what, when, where, who's going to replace him? What's the deal?
What's next?
What's next?
Why now?
Who's Matt Gaetz? We're going to figure all that out in the next hour. The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed. Big sale going on this weekend.
Ranch nights tomorrow night. Head on
tomorrow
up there.
Night.
Yep.
Thursday night. Good morning, Tam Keeling. Thursday night. Works out good. It's not a bingo night. Get by Deerland Feed.
4:30 to 7:30 tomorrow. Special pricing from the vendors. Some of the vendors that'll be there: Ranger Gate, Thomas More Feed, Texas Paxer Plus Plus Fertilizer, Animal Health. Lots of door prizes, snacks, adult beverages.
Stop it. 77 degrees in Victoria under partly cloudy skies, heading to a high today of 92. Slight chance of some showers, 30-40% this afternoon.
Tomorrow we get the rain.
Good.
Well, almost 100% chance of rain tomorrow.
Good.
And so the South Texas TV studio will be wet outside. Good. We won't be wet inside, but
no, the sixth floor doesn't leak.
No.
We don't have any problems here.
No, we're on the fifth, thankfully.
Right. We're on the fifth, and the sixth does
not leak. No.
There you go.
And it's cold in here today.
It is chilly.
Linda Chris checking in, Jordan Glass, Justin Glass, Keith Williams, Lisa Poole, Scott Tomko, Jarrett McCrugan, Tammy Keeling, Rena Scherer, Kendra Douglas, Marvin Mickish, Crystal Mapp, Patricia Nagel, Casey Lynn Kemp, Judge
Hi,
Posey,
Casey.
good morning. Bobby Leister checking in on Call to Wednesday. Will Vincent, Stuart Martin, good morning, everybody. Glad you're here. Glad you're joining us.
I'll be seeing Casey tomorrow night as well after Deerland Feed when Industrial plays Sealy.
You got a game tomorrow?
Yeah, in Vanderbilt.
Okay, home game.
Yeah.
Bobcat Watley's in. B. Small, good morning.
Hello,
B. Small shows up because the Rangers win.
4-0, Rangers win. It seemed like everybody, Ash and I, predicted the series champions to be lost yesterday.
Except for the Phillies, I think. I think we took the Phillies.
Well, we picked the Blue Jays over the Twins, and the Twins won 3-1. I didn't bet or make a venture on the Brewers and Diamondbacks. After what I saw from the D-backs, I would have thought the Brewers would be the favorite. Brewers had 12 hits, must have stranded the world and lost 6-3.
Yeah, they struggled.
Phillies,
some of the silly things that ESPN was putting out there yesterday. Marlins have scored one run in their last three playoff games. That'd be something if the same team was in those same playoff games. They hadn't been in the playoffs in years.
That's right.
So to bring up that stat, and the Diamondbacks, they've never won a playoff game in which they trailed by 3. Again, when's the last time the D-backs were in the playoffs?
You know, you see right here, it says Bryce Harper blows through stop sign to score for the Phillies. In another outlet, that'd be like Fox. On the CNN outlet, Bryce Harper, uncoachable. He's uncoachable, right? Hey, on one side, he's like Altuve. He's got the green light. I'm going home. He goes and scores. Everybody thinks he's a hero. That's always good. You can go right by Gary Pettis as long as you score.
Absolutely.
You make an out, and Gary's going to have you by the ear over in that dugout. You're about two angry black men. You let Dusty Baker and Gary Pettis.
I don't think Dusty would raise his voice.
They're about 150 years combined.
Mark Angel, good morning. Jackie Parsons checking in. Scott Snow.
So I'm going to tell
Ron
you.
Koshin.
In the same breath that I hope I'm wrong, I hope the Rangers beat the Rays. I do. I would almost bet the ranch that the Rays win their next game.
Come back and win it?
Yeah, because the Rays are going to win that series.
Because, always easier to win a 3-game series or one than the next two, though, right?
Yeah, you just hate – right. I mean, all the Rangers have to do is win 1 out of 2. Does that sound familiar? Wonder if they had the champagne out last night.
Haven't they been there before?
You think they had the champagne out last night?
Not yet. It might be there tonight. We'll see. But here's the thing. I mean, they haven't won anything. You don't even win the division series.
No.
At this point, you're just trying to get to the division series.
You're just cleaning up the mess you made.
And the Astros will play the winner of the Toronto-Minnesota series, so it doesn't matter. We won't see the Rangers if they get past Baltimore, if they get to Baltimore.
Absolutely. Want to welcome all the folks listening on Magic 95.9. The mothership is our home base. Has been forever. Hi, Jeff Finley. Want to thank you folks for checking in. The folks at Magic let us in the door years ago, and the listeners at Magic at first were like, what are they doing on our station? And yet somewhere along the way, we picked up a huge following on Magic.
Yep.
And that's what leads us to call it the mothership. They're great folks to us, and we've done as much as we can to support everything that Magic supports in return. I mean, I'm very, very blessed by our relationship with Magic 95.9.
B. Small says 19K showed up at the Trop yesterday for that Rays game.
Why don't the
It
Rays
was a 2:00 game. I mean, let's be honest.
Playoff baseball, $100 ticket, go.
Yeah, probably. They don't care.
I can't even imagine what an Astros ticket's cost. Good morning, Judge Zeller. Can't even imagine what an Astros ticket's costing these days.
Daniel Wade White, good morning. Stephanie Connie checking in. Scott Tompkins says they won the hearts of many Texas fans.
There you go. Ben, stay tight. We're gonna take a break here in just a second to get it out of the way. No offense to our supporters, but we want to have plenty of time to visit with Congressman Michael Cloud. He's going to call.
So we're going to save what happened yesterday in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Until then.
Because most of you probably don't know what happened.
Yeah, no, probably not.
People are like, did the Commanders play?
Did they change their name?
The Nationals make the playoffs?
We'll give you a heads up, though. Simultaneous tests of the nation's wireless and broadcast alert systems will ping your cell phones, TVs, and radios today, 1:20 local time. First nationwide test since August of 2021.
How about that?
Why?
It's a less than 1 minute alert. It can only be deployed by the U.S. president or the head of FEMA. Is designed to evaluate the network's effectiveness in communicating national alerts within 10 minutes. What makes me nervous about that,
The bomb is coming.
that is the only national
Well, and
alert
that's when the
that you
system
need.
was developed. I remember reading about this in college. It was developed during the Cold War.
But think about,
See, I did learn something.
you would have enough time. This is what would happen if somebody launched a preemptive strike on the U.S. involving a incoming, 30 warheads coming into the United States airspace. This system might go off if somebody weren't so busy getting to the bunker.
Yeah.
This might go off and say, please seek shelter, get inside your house, get on ground level, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I've thought about that. I've thought about if I was going to move, if money wasn't an issue, and I'm not talking about being wealthy.
Yeah.
I just had enough to go do what I wanted to do. I would probably move somewhere like Montana where I wouldn't get nuked. Although I'd be very careful to live somewhere that wasn't near a missile silo.
Well, that's the problem. Aren't there a bunch?
There probably are. I think I would have to,
That's why that Chinese spy balloon floated over Montana.
I mean, L.A. would be done. Corpus, maybe. Houston, for sure, done. New
York.
Orleans, big port, done.
Mobile, big port, done.
Yeah.
People don't think about that.
And a shipyard for the Navy there.
And I think they drop one right in the center of Kansas just because it's like the geographical center of America just to
Right.
make a statement, right?
Yeah. But New
Greg
York.
Garcia, good morning. Diane Tippett checking in. Stephen Kidder, B. Small says he didn't like my comment about the time of day in Tampa. Did you see how many were at the Twins games? Who cares? Well, here's the difference, B. Small.
Well, the Rangers just aren't that big a draw.
Florida is a Republican state.
People are at work.
People are at work in Tampa Bay. It's a working city.
Be
Minneapolis,
small, it
St.
is.
Paul, run by Democrats who don't care about anything, and a bunch of people that don't have to work because they're living off the dole. That's why they can, and the government probably paid for their tickets.
Hey, B. Small says that you're in Tampa. It's like, hey, you want to go to the game today?
Who are they playing?
Rangers?
Nah.
That's exactly what happened. Nobody. If it had been the Astros, it'd have been packed. Standing room only. Hello, Matt Boucher.
Jamie Browder, good morning. Cody Bauman checking in. But we digress.
I thought about Matt Boucher yesterday. I've got a Rogue sprinkler head, and it happened when I backed off my watering. When I was watering all the time before we came into this huge drought, everything was okay. But then when a sprinkler system sits, it dies. Yeah. And now one of my heads, it's just supposed to go like 90 degrees. It goes around in a circle.
Matt's going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. Call an irrigation guy.
Well, I need to just go out there and just get. You can go to Service Supply and
buy the head.
The pieces, individual pieces, are cheap.
It's just the head that's probably.
Yeah, I'm just going to take that out. But
whatever little ratcheting thing is probably shot.
What I've noticed is because I've put down.
But what if you let it go all the way around? What's it watering otherwise?
Well, it's watering asphalt, but I've got the most lush Bermuda lawn out on the asphalt now.
Just let it go.
Yeah, because it's like a putting green out there. Because if you put enough water down, Bermuda grass will grow.
Through anything.
Yeah, and my neighbors are all upset. I've got this semicircle of Bermuda grass growing on the asphalt. They can't get their yard to stay green. I'm like 21-7-14, babe. Get over to Deerland Feed. Let them fix it.
Jared says, Brent, Montana won't help you. They probably have you targeted.
Right. Yeah, they've got I would walk outside and find like laser dots on me that some drone guy was putting it on.
Probably.
We've got to get rid of that guy.
Dwayne Schillab watching. Good morning, Dwayne. H.R. Mallory checking in. B. Small says he's going to go start his own crappy show.
All it takes is money. Call my mom.
All it takes is to hurt his feelings, I guess.
Steve Kidder says
that
space
is
is
filled.
filled.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Steve Kidder also asks how often you think about Matt Boucher.
You know, often I love Matt Boucher. He's a fine guy. I see the dig you're trying to make there, Steve Kidder, and I think you've overstepped.
Yes.
I think you grossly overstepped.
Uncalled for.
Yes.
Now, the space is filled. That's not uncalled for.
Right. Right.
We can understand.
Matt Boucher's at home going, why am I getting all this airplay?
Yeah. Kenny Kurtz, good morning.
I'm just a simple ag extension agent extraordinaire with many accolades.
T-Lat checking in.
Lots of fans. Hi, T-Lat.
Beautiful wife Cheryl checking in.
Hi, Cheryl.
That's a good opportunity to remind you to get by the Gray Barn. If you're looking for a antique French buffet, Cheryl's got one, and it's gorgeous.
Really?
Yeah. So go check it out at the Gray Barn Mercantile today.
That's not quite as exciting as when she had a perky set that was for sale.
But it's pretty close.
Okay. Buffets and a big old butt. You know, get on by and get that buffet.
Gray Barn Mercantile right there at Airline and Laurent.
If you're Kathleen Leininger, get in there for your $20 off on anything you want. Courtesy of Wade and Carter. We'll set up with Cheryl later. Don't worry about it. We have credit with her.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
We got credit.
That's an offer can give you credit as well. If you want to buy a new car, used car, it's 1926. That's what they've been doing, selling Chevys, Mitsubishis, Mazdas, Mizdas.
Right. The flags are flying. Folks are buying. They're stacking them deep, selling them cheap, just down the road from higher prices.
Apparently, if I'm not speaking English, I'm dying.
On the Navarro Motor Mile. AJ's Detailing. Let AJ transform your car from the dirty dirt clod that it is, driving around these dusty streets. He can buff it out, get all the scratches out, really, really enhance your paint, and then put a ceramic coat on it that'll protect it against UV and other hardly harmful rays and chemicals. Armor Air, 579-0966. Let Ryan and his group come out and help you make sure that your heater is going to work this winter. It's going to be cold.
Yeah, if you put off getting your AC service this summer, shame on you, because you would have saved a ton of money on your heating or on your cooling bills.
Let's be honest. If you wake up and it's below 60 outside, you're going to feel like you're in an Arctic blast because it's been 110 degrees all summer.
Yeah, it's all relative.
It was 77 degrees this morning. I'm telling you.
It felt cool this morning. It really did. I agree with you. I was chilly. Put on their Uggs today.
Putting on their Uggs and believing that those expandable, those leggings hide all the flaws. I look good in these, they think. Have you seen these shorts? You know, you're not a gym rat. And I end up at the gym. The ladies have these new pants, fellas. They're shorts, and they're super tight. They're like spandex. That's an overused term. That's like saying Coca-Cola. What kind? Sprite. But they have a like a built-in. Maybe Dawn could help me with what they're called. There's probably a name for them. Culos. But they've got like a built-in thong in the back that accentuates the split in a woman's buttocks. And
then there's like padding in there too, right?
yeah, and it's not, and then Dawn might say, well, why were you looking? In some cases, you can't help but look when they have to come through the door sideways, and yet when they turn, it looks like two big black diamond watermelons with a crease down the middle. I don't know why men don't wear like tight spandex with a cod piece where you look like a ballet dancer. I'm going to the gym, honey. I noticed because you have your cod piece on. I don't get it.
I don't either.
Because these are the same women, and this brings us to our society today. These are the same women who don't want to be objectified as sex symbols, and they don't want to be looked at. I just want to go to the gym and work out, but they wear this flash dance look with one, no bra, one sleeve hanging off.
I remember the one lady that went to Instagram was taking pictures of a guy who was just kind of looking in his direction.
Yeah.
Or looking in her direction, and then she tried
Acted
to
like
shame him like he
she
was stalking her.
Rape victim.
Yeah.
Dawn says, do they hide my flaws? Honey, you have no flaws. Who are you kidding?
Good answer.
I'd like to keep cutting up with y'all, but we're being joined by the congressman.
But real quick, Trevor Bauer yesterday, pretty much exonerated.
Yeah, had video
Yeah,
proof. We'll get to that.
we'll get to
That's
that,
what we're
but
talking
let-
about.
yep.
Good morning, Congressman. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Doing well.
We really appreciate you taking time out. People don't understand that it's already after 8 in D.C., and humbly, you probably had, 2 meetings already this morning?
Well, I'm about to go to one, but I was up till 2. So
We appreciate your time as always.
Yeah, I did have a packed day planned, but it got a little lighter after yesterday.
I have no doubt that,
Yeah.
that Fox said, Michael, do you have a minute? No, I'm on Wade and Carter. I don't have time.
Yes.
Explain this week. And we'll get sort of more into the details, but for the folks, how did this week sort of unfold? Was it surprising to you?
No. Yes. No.
No, but
Well, it was the culmination of several months of things going on in the House and frustrations coming to a point. We were in an appropriations process, and a lot of this is connected to what happened last week on the floor. Some of which was very good, some of which I couldn't support. And of course, we just passed the September 30th deadline. I had actually written a speech I was going to give on the House floor today, only the floor's not open today anymore. But just talking about September 30th and the fact that date amazingly falls on the same day every year, and Congress can't seem to figure that out, and we get to that funding deadline and everybody just kind of throws up their arms and is surprised and, oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
Well,
how are we going to get out of this? Whoever saw it coming?
I think what we look at,
I think the problem is there's not enough of folks like you that see it coming.
Well, and one of the things, we had a meeting in conference last week talking about where we need to go and what we're going to do. And on like the morning of, was it Friday when the CR passed? I think Saturday. We're in that meeting, like trying to get a path forward, and there was 21 of us who had voted against the CR the first round. And I had gotten 12 of them to say, one of the big concerns with me was I appreciated a lot of the work that Chip had done. I'd been part of all that, and I was actually trying to encourage people to get there. Maybe we can get some border stuff through. But it came apparent to me that it wasn't, okay, we're passing a CR to buy time to get the approach process through. A number of signals led me to the understanding that it looked like we were using the approach process just to kind of garner support for a CR, which was
Right.
kind of the reverse way of doing things. So I had, in the couple hours between meeting and I had a couple hours and was able to convince 12 of the 21, like, hey, if we can get a solid appropriations calendar, get this thing down to 2 weeks. They wanted to spread it, for over many weeks. They had said that, one of the things was like, hey, let's bring some one of the things I said was let's continue to bring appropriations bills to the floor. These funding bills, these single subject funding bills, the way that we're supposed to fund Congress, let's keep bringing them to the floor this week. Why are we going home for 2 weeks? Why, we were scheduled to be home this week and next. And the answer was, well, we can't do that. There's just no way to get it done. I'm like, we just passed 4 in 1 week, or we
Right.
brought 4 to the floor. We had passed 3 in 1 week, which 10 days prior to that, we were told we couldn't do and had to have a CR before that, so forcing the issue on this. And so anyway, for me, it was trying to get us to, albeit we should have had the work done before September 30th. Actually, we're supposed to get it done in June, according to the law. But trying to force us to nail down a calendar and really have a plan. But we finally got a schedule, and it's the day before the shutdown, and it's just kind of like, if we knew it was a 40-day calendar to pass appropriations bills, why didn't we get this 40 days before the deadline?
Do this for us, Michael. When I go back and do that for your constituents here and our listeners that stay on top of these things, you gain some notoriety and some respect, and I think some attaboys, if you will, in the House by being one of the rogue rebellious group that was one of the very last to confirm McCarthy as Speaker, and your reasons at the time were all laid out very well. I think everybody agreed that what you were doing was actually somewhat heroic. Now, flash forward, and you're one of the congressmen that did not vote to remove him, and I know that you didn't change because you've been as consistent as any vote provider in Congress as long as we've known you. So what changed that made you reticent to bring him on to begin with, but also didn't want to see him go? And where does that leave us? Who is going to be, with no humor, are you potentially going to be someone who might be put up for Speaker of the House?
No.
Where are we? Is it better to have the dog than
Yeah.
the dog you don't know? Is that where we're at with this deal?
No, I'll tell you, for me, it was a timing issue. Right now we have, the House, over my vote, passed a CR. And so right now we're in a 45-day window before we're back again at a funding deadline and looking at another CR.
With no leadership at the top.
With no leadership. And so we got 45 days to finish the appropriations process. We're on a calendar to do so. And there was a growing frustration among, and it was kind of like like that was going to be the last straw for a lot of people across the conference, in a sense, if we couldn't get this done. But I was very concerned, and it still may happen. I'm, of course, going to keep working to make sure it doesn't happen, that this likens the chance of an omnibus, which not only will have elevated spending levels, but will just continue the Pelosi-Biden policies of the last several budget years.
Because we still have no debt ceiling, correct?
Correct. And so, yeah, exactly. So that's where I'm looking at. Like, I thought the timing was off. I thought there might be certainly a time to have this, but right now, for me, it's, the personalities, and even in January, are I don't want to say ambivalent, but they don't factor into my calculus in a sense.
Right now, you've got Newt Gingrich saying that the 8 Republicans that voted to oust McCarthy are traitors and should be removed from office. And then you've also got people, I know it's Newt, but then you've also
Newt said that in January too, and then he changed his mind. So.
Well, yeah, but you've also got people saying that McCarthy caved in and that he's weak and that he's not voting what the American people want out of the Republican side, and it was time for him to go.
there's a lot of arguments over the last couple of days, and on if we were going to break this down into two sides of the argument, and obviously it's not quite like that in reality.
Right.
But
Yes, sir.
And the truth is, there were some real. We made a lot of progress this year so far, but a lot of it was bringing him along with what we were trying
Yes, sir.
to get done. And so, again, for me, it was the timing of the moment right now with where we are in funding and doing what's best for the American people
Well,
in the long term.
And I'll be honest, those are some of my concerns.
So yeah,
So
right. So
Because of that-
I share many of the frustrations. Believe me, in what we were trying to get done. I was upset that we have not been able to, like I said, September 30th is like, we're being told, you don't, if you can't support this, you don't love our men and women in the military and whatever. It's
veterans,
like,
So-
right. And it's just like, I knew September 30th was coming. Did y'all not get the memo?
Michael, to paraphrase, is it fair to say, without me putting words in your mouth, especially when you're here, but to clarify, you're not saying that McCarthy didn't need to go. You're just saying that in light of the agenda at hand and what needed to get done, it might have been better had it been done, say, at the end of this 45-day continuance, or and he hung up on us.
I think it got dropped.
No, he got dropped. He'll call back.
Yeah.
He's pretty good like that.
Yeah. No, but the
I
concern.
think that's what he's saying. And he's
Yeah.
like saying, hey, I'm not saying that McCarthy didn't need to go. I'm
not
just
right
saying
now.
that not right now, because we've got to deal with a lot in the next 45 days, and it helps to have a speaker. Is there an interim speaker? B. Small says he's pissed.
I think they can appoint one. Well, you try to get him back. I will take a quick break, or maybe a short one anyway. But the chopping block, don't
He
forget.
just answered. He's
Okay,
there.
good.
Automated voice messaging system.
Oh, no, he's-
went straight to voicemail. He may be trying to call us back.
He may
so.
be trying to call us back.
But don't forget to get by the chopping block this week for all your meat needs.
Yeah.
They will fill them.
They've got
Satisfy
boudin
them.
sausage. They make
I think the
great
best boudin
chorizo.
around.
They make great pan sausage. They make spicy pan sausage. You can buy it. The great thing about, you can have those little Jimmy Dean patties, but you can make a big old flat patty, cut it up. It's great. Great in eggs. They do a fantastic job at the chopping block.
White
Chopping
Trash
block-
Services,
White Trash
550-1826. Give them a call for all your weekly pickup needs. You need a dumpster roll-off, demolition services. They can
There
provide
we
that
go.
as well. And hopefully we're back.
Congressman, I just want to apologize. I didn't know what I said to make you just hang up on us. I don't know. I know we're not that close, and I know I'm living on the tethered edge. I know that. But back to my paraphrase.
Not sure what happened there, but yeah.
that-
Where were we?
Is that fair to say that in the big picture, you're not necessarily saying that McCarthy didn't need to go? You're just saying that the timing could be detrimental to what you're trying to accomplish in the next 45 days.
Yeah.
So is that
and
politics
for-
as usual from the Dems? Is that what they want? Let's disrupt what they're trying to do? Is that what this is?
What you mean?
Are they saying,
Well,
let's get this, let's do, are they excited that we're speakerless?
Oh, the Dems. I mean, of course they are. They didn't
terrible.
like what was going on. That's
It's
why what's his
un-American.
face, pulled the fire alarm.
Yeah.
What's his
But,
face? That's how you know that he's been in Congress less time than Michael. No, what's his face? That kid that used to be a high school principal who ought to know what an alarm looks like.
Yeah. He thought it was he
yeah.
thought it would open the door.
That man was elected. What is it? Is he from New York? Mr.
I
is it
believe so.
Bowman,
Yeah,
I think.
so.
I love
Yeah.
it that our congressman just said, what's his face? I love that. Thank you, sir. That's awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
It happens.
Whatever I can do for you.
Yeah. There's a soundbite
Yeah.
we'll run with all day.
Everybody we talk about for the rest of the week, The Astros have old what's his face on the mound tonight. That's it. That's our go-to now.
Yeah, appreciate the broadcasting tip. That's how you get through. But here's the question I have, and I know it's more, I guess, would be to Matt Gaetz, but I agree with you. The timing is suspect, but why didn't Gaetz go after him after the CR was passed? That would seem more the time that Kevin McCarthy let everybody down on the promises that he made to be speaker when the continuing resolution was passed in the spring, as opposed to now.
You're talking about the debt ceiling or the CR?
Or the debt ceiling lift and all that stuff. That seemed to be more the time if you were going to get rid of the Speaker McCarthy because he didn't live up to his promises. That, to me, seemed more like the time to say, you know what, you're not bringing single bills to the floor. We just raised the debt ceiling. You're out of here.
Yeah, well, to answer this question, the previous question, for me, the point right, the question right now, the calculus again going into this week wasn't does Kevin McCarthy deserve to be speaker? To me, that was at least for the moment the wrong question to the person who was in there. To me, it was what's best for the American people at this moment. We have worked all year to get amazing conservative legislation into these funding bills. That have worked their way through committee. They're the most conservative legislation ever. Typically, the Appropriations Committee would pass bills with Republicans and Democrats. These big bipartisan bills would come through. These were Republican-only votes in committee. Worked really hard to get a lot of good conservative policy in there, and it's important that policy wins out and gets over to the Senate so we can, work on negotiating and getting them passed. And so, even when I was talking in January about the rules, it's like not that it's irrelevant. I'm not saying it's not important, but to me, fixing the House was the preeminent thing, willing to accept anyone who's willing to work on that. And right now getting these conservative policy wins was key. I mean, it's the key to answering a lot of the issues right now. And so that was, of course you can look 2020 and maybe that was the case. Obviously we had some come to Jesus meetings after that to kind of figure out what happened, because leading up to that, we had Limit, Save, Grow, which was a conference-wide product, where you had groups talking, what can we do to get to where we need to go? And it was an amazing piece of legislation when you think of what it took to get that done and through a Congress with a small majority. And then that kind of fell apart in the negotiations that didn't take into account not just us, but, members across the conference. And so, looking back, you could, obviously second guess, but I think the thinking at the time was, well, we were rewriting. And this whole year I've been talking about rewriting the muscle memory of Congress. I wish we could flip a switch and it happened overnight, but there's a lot of processes from the committee level to the floor and how things operate that they've been doing for decades that lead to the bad product we get, that we've been rewriting and reworking and changing old habits and those kind of things. Again, we made a lot of progress. We haven't gotten where we need to get. And of course, it's why we are where we are.
Sir, I live in a world now where I look at a guy like Matt Gaetz and I see a guy that's a moaner and a complainer, and he's there to point out what's wrong, but he's not a leader. He doesn't seem to be leading me anywhere. He just keeps telling me what's wrong. And, your transmission's slipping. Well, can you fix it? But it's slipping. You don't understand. The transmission is not going into third gear. Yeah, but can you fix it? I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. I'm Matt Gaetz. Where is this guy in the big picture going forward? Is Mr. Gaetz one of the guys that thinks maybe, well, I'll just complain and harumph a lot, and maybe they'll just say, well, then you go be the speaker. Is that his goal?
You'll have to have him on the show and ask him.
We tried, sir. He wouldn't come. He said no.
He said no.
We tried to get Fetterman, but we had a dress code.
For your radio show.
It's all theater of the mind.
It's all theater.
I think whoever is the next speaker, the conference is going to have to pick. So I don't know. You would have to talk to him about his calculus on things.
I mean, do you see the next votes going 30 rounds to get somebody approved instead of 15? Here's my fear, and I talked about this yesterday. I just can't. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I wasn't a big fan of Kevin McCarthy coming in. I think he's done a pretty good job given the limitations. I think he should have gone when the debt ceiling was lifted if you were going to get rid of him. But to this point, I can't see, or all I can see, let me rephrase that, is the next speaker will be further to the left of the political spectrum than maybe where we are now. And that scares me more than anything, because that means that the Democrat spending agenda will start getting pushed. They will, I mean, there's enough votes in the Republican Party to support the 210 Democrats and get stuff passed that'll keep spending a lot of money. And that's my concern, is the next speaker is going to bring some things to the floor that are going to be a lot more socialist in nature.
It's a concern to be mindful of, but I wouldn't say that that's guaranteed. A lot of these internally are going to be made on processes and leadership and how things are going to run and the way you're going to do things. And those conversations are beginning to happen.
Do we know who the secret list of 8 is or anything like that? Have we heard any of those? I haven't seen any of those names, but apparently, there's a secret list given by the speaker of those who can replace him, right?
Double secret probation list.
What you might be referring to is there's a list of line of succession for if the speaker's vacated, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're nominees for.
Oh, okay.
They all met at the Republican Club for a glass of tea last night and talked about it. We could have found them.
So now with McCarthy out, explain to the people, how does the process continue? Does somebody step in? Is there an interim speaker?
There's a speaker pro tem,
okay.
Patrick McHenry. So he's stepped in. As far as floor duties, basically his jurisdiction as we understand it right now. So we're in parliamentary law that hasn't been used for 100 years. So we missed a couple of details.
Isn't it
Please
fun?
forgive me. The parliamentarians are like pulling out manuals and books and figuring this out as we go, kind of. So his floor authorities, my understanding, are somewhat restricted to electing the new speaker. But committees and investigations and our work in the House can continue, which is why a number of us were upset when the GOP leadership said, "Okay, well, we're not gonna have elections or a forum till next week. Go home, everybody." And I mean, it was like, what the?
Well, sir, as a word of encouragement, and I'm reading the comments over here from our listeners, and they're all very supportive. There's a handful of you folks up there that are like a herd of unicorns. You're just an anomaly, because there are a lot of people, most not your constituents, but there are a lot of people in this country that believe that at the highest levels you can put all of you guys in a bag, shake you up and dump you out, and you get the same guy, whether he's a Republican or a Democrat. There's a huge percentage of this country that believes that Congress is all in it together. We know that's not the case, because we have the access to you to explain to our listeners why you do what you do, why you vote the way you vote. And I think that our listeners are more astute than most when it comes to understanding the way you vote on things. But I just want to encourage you, as we always try to remain strong, remain resolute, because there aren't many of you there.
And the ones that are seem to come out of Texas,
right? That get it, and I just encourage you to not don't let those clowns become your compass, because you seem to represent us very well, and
haven't been pulled into the swamp yet.
I don't know anybody. I've never had anybody say, I just took a huge exception to Michael Cloud's vote on that issue.
Oh.
I think you vote your constituents. And we're all very proud of you, and I mean that. And I'm not trying to end our interview. I just wanted to inject to you that that's where we are. There are a lot of people that believe, like Ash just said, well, the next speaker is probably going to be left of where McCarthy was. Well, because at the end of the day, they're all in it together. They're all in it at the highest level. You can't tell me a Republican from a Democrat because they're all compromising everything they believed when they got there to get things done. And we appreciate your stubbornness. Here you are, one of the nicest people I've ever met.
You know, I mean, here's some of the comments. Scott Tomko, the Republicans are infighting. The Dems are just ordering popcorn for the show that's coming. Steve, I think
Scott
Brian,
Tomko may be killed today. Thanks for putting him out there.
You know, Brian Smalls says, I'm trying hard to care, much less understand. And I think the process up there has made people apathetic.
Yeah. The lack of progress on the surface is, you know, Scott Tomko says, in short, it's politics, and politics suck. There you have it. So,
you know, heading into a couple months ago, one of these DC reporters asked me going in, they're like, are you worried about a shutdown and everything? I was like, people up here are way more worried about it than people back home.
Right.
You know, and I didn't mean to diminish it, the importance of, what having a functioning government is, but it's just
seems kind of important.
This place gets self-important, and then over time this government's become something that people just feel like doesn't actually serve them, and so us working this year to kind of get, and I will say there's a number of people in conference right now who are who like the idea that we can offer amendments, who like the idea they've actually been able to have input into bills for the first time too, and so I would hope, and it's certainly something we're going to be fighting for afresh and anew again, that those things remain. And that was honestly one of my biggest concerns right now is, these changes were important to me, not to just, okay, we're just doing this because this is what we need to manage a thin majority, but for these changes to be something that outlasts this, not only this term, but hopefully my service in Congress, and is something that kind of begins to rebuild so much of what's been destroyed over the time, as far as what the promise of this amazing republic we have is for the people, and to where government can become something where people feel like, okay, yeah, this is actually a government of the people, by and for the people.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, I mean, we
I think
today and working.
I think people have lost faith in the fact that it's no longer government of the people for the people. I think they feel it's government for the government.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Williams adds, we're praying for you, Congressman Cloud, and all of our congressional leaders. So I think that sums up our attitude here, at the program. We've I like to think we've always been supportive, and we still say we knew him when.
Yeah,
knew him when. So, and he's like, forget about that. That's.
Well, I knew y'all win before y'all were big radio stars, and
I like it when he walks in and goes, "Hello, Ash. Hello, what's his name?" That's when I know I've.
That's when
arrived.
you know you've arrived.
I'm
Absolutely,
on the same level as a junior congressman. What's his name? He's well known in his area.
Hey, explain something, because I don't see, and I know, okay, there's not hundreds of people walking through the halls of Congress, but how does old what's-his-name get to pull the fire alarm to disrupt proceedings and not get charged with basically insurrection?
Yeah.
He's a Democrat.
Well, I know the answer.
We'll see where that goes. That's my understanding is that the Capitol Police were going to wrap that investigation up this week.
In other news, after the alarm was pulled, 2 Capitol policemen committed suicide. They couldn't deal with the PTSD of the event, and now we think that other people were storming the halls.
And how about the 18 environmentalists that went into Kevin McCarthy's office last week and stood in there with their signs? And I mean, is that not disrupting proceedings?
Well, and I mean, the Dems have had sit-ins on the floor several times too.
Really, so a weird group.
It's definitely one of those things. When we do it, it's wrong. But I mean, we've seen that from COVID to everything. It's just.
But I know from being there with you, McCarthy's got a pretty big office. I mean, they could be like in one room.
Pelosi did the renovations,
right? He's got that hallway, right? That's McCarthy that has the big Lincoln picture at the end.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. I mean, he's got enough space over there. You can put a little band of nuts in one room, and nobody's going to really notice. But if those people go to Michael Cloud's office, now there's issues.
won't all
He's
fit.
like, would anyone like a mint? I mean,
I'm not sure what you're suggesting here.
I think you need a bigger office, sir. You need a bigger office.
I thought you were suggesting everybody to come protest in my office.
We don't need- no. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. I want you to get that appropriations sweatshirt off the window ledge, and I want you to wear it proudly.
Okay.
It's just not the right colors. That's all.
Right.
I will.
Yeah. But we appreciate your time, Congressman. Thank you very much. We won't take up any more of it, but thank you for discussing the issues and why you did what you did this week, because I think it's good for clarity. It's good for, obviously, the district and those that you represent to understand. And I think it helped us paint a clearer picture of why you did what you did, and we appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your time, and just be strong and know that there's a lot of folks down here that are praying for you and support what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. God bless y'all.
And when
Yes,
you see
sir.
him, say hi to old what's his name for us.
Say, what's his name? The guys in Texas said hi.
Sounds good.
We'll
Thank
see you,
you,
brother.
Michael. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Michael.
Congressman
That's
Michael
Congressman
Cloud.
Michael Cloud. And
Our congressman.
I can't emphasize, when I look at people like Congressman Cloud, Sheriff Louderback from the GLO, when I look at our own Ben Zeller, Jeff Bachnight, anybody that we call who has ties to Victoria, they have consistently become more and more gracious with their time with us. I talked to Sheriff Louderback the other day, and he said, hey, I got to get in there. I got some things to share with you guys. And I'm like, well, just come on. Come on and bring it. If you want, Ash will insult you, and then you can go get some free stuff at the Gray Barn.
Kathleen Leininger says Democrats have apparently overplayed their hand in voting to oust McCarthy and give the appearance that the Republicans are split and disorganized. Instead, they'll now have a more conservative and fiscally responsible speaker supported by the majority. McCarthy was a known entity as a moderate, no doubting that at all. Doing the bidding of the Democrats, they've lost their power with the speaker, and that's a good thing. I really hope you're right, Kathleen.
I agree, but if you go back up to the top, Andy Rokovich said, look, when McCarthy first got to Congress 20 years ago, he was a good conservative guy, and he's become a swamp creature. He said just another issue that term limits would solve. We would have a junior congressman as a speaker. What's interesting is I don't remember, was Kevin McCarthy very well known prior to? Was he kind of like
Prior to becoming more of a moderate?
yeah, was he kind of a well-known conservative before?
No, I think he was a known conservative, but he
Okay.
didn't become well-known until he went,
Right.
took a turn to the left and went towards the middle, because that's the only way you can,
So
you know.
where has a guy?
It's the only way you can earn the right to wear a Ukraine pocket square
Right.
in D.C.
Where has a guy like Jim Jordan been the last 6 months? Remember when Jim Jordan was so vocal, so out there, so kind of a de facto leader of the Republican Party? Where is he now? And I'm not
I think
criticizing. I
no,
don't know.
I think there's a longer term play here for Jim Jordan,
You think he wants to be president?
and I think he's kind of staying silent so that he doesn't get drawn into the fracas that is going on now,
Right.
and ruin his chances in 2028.
there you
That's
go.
that's what I think's going on, because he's been conspicuously absent in a lot of these issues with his commentary.
Scott Tomko points out something probably accurate. He says they're printing more gift cards for the Gray Barn as we speak. As Wade and Carter consistently offends people, it's appropriate.
Carter does.
Here's what happened.
I know.
You gave a guy that's not afraid to tell the truth an audience. You gave me a microphone, and I started telling people the truth, and people tune in to hear it because they're like, that guy's actually saying what I'm thinking. I am on the list. They will come and round me up one day, and I'll be in some internment camp being re-educated. I'll come out with my eyes all glazed over
Down
saying,
in Bloomington.
there's too much money in the hands of the rich. Everybody deserves the same pay. It's coming. I know it's coming. BJ Nelson, thank you, ma'am.
This is good morning. Way to go, Congressman Cloud.
Folks, Allen's Record Service, 578-6300. Allen invites you to call with your next towing opportunity. It's an open invitation from Allen's Record Service, very formally presented. You got a big 18-wheeler. Let me tell you something, folks. Alan is creative. One time, H.R. Mallory can vouch for this. An 18-wheeler got turned over, and it was laying on the edge of a bridge, and it was full of beer. Alan went and got a bunch of buckshot. The truck was too heavy. It was still too heavy. Shot a bunch of buckshot into the cans, let the beer run into the river, and straighten the truck up. He was later chastised by the EPA for polluting the river. The fish were swimming near the top, just having a good time. True story. Allen's Wrecker Service. Creative, innovative, they do what it takes to get you back on the road. The VCS companies, the locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, and Rocket Oilfield Services.
They do the same. They do the same thing. They do whatever it takes to get you back communicating with those you need to communicate with.
Yeah.
They're awesome at what they do.
I got a note from the AT&T store the other day. Congratulations, you've paid off your phone. I've got like 5 phones on my program. I got my burner, for my girlfriend, Dawn. I got another phone. And all of a sudden it said, you've paid off your phone. Do you think she found out? And then they're like, congratulations. Come on in and see about an upgrade.
Yeah.
Because we like you back on the hook for another girl.
Well, it's that time of year, right? New phones come out and they want you to upgrade.
In titanium.
Yeah.
So when you drop it, only the screen cracks. Chesnick Furniture Company for
that happens
100
now.
years, people. 116 West Line Lynn for the last 78.
They've been there.
Get down to Chesnick Furniture and see why Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Bobby Leon and his family.
Bobby will talk politics with you, too. if
You and
want.
yours, Bobby Leon, a fine Republican genius. Go visit with Bobby Leon about what's going on in our country. I guarantee you he's up to speed. And then Veracruz, today is Caldo Wednesday. Get in today. Enjoy this cool weather. It's in the 70s. Wear your Uggs and your semi-compressive black leggings.
It's going to be 92 today for the high. Tomorrow,
It's all
we're looking
good.
in the 80s, about 10 degrees cooler than today. Then Friday. Ladies, just hold off until Friday. Don't
The
bust it out
Uggs.
tomorrow when it's 80
Get
because
your suede brush.
looking long term, but get it ready. Polish those brown
Look,
boots.
and wear the black leggings at night or indoors. If you're in the sun, nature is not good to those butt dimples. You get those dimples, that cellulite, and you can scream. I feel good. It just
I've seen that
screams
when I'm
at you.
standing behind Brent when he's wearing it.
Right.
It's not pretty.
Be small asked if I wear jeans to the gym. No, I have a thong. It's a tricot mesh.
Well, now the forecast has changed. They're saying the cooler weather won't be here until Saturday. So you might have to bust it out when it's 86 on Friday if you want the people at the office to see your new Han Solo outfit.
Yeah. Saturday.
If not-
we got a burner at the Cotton Bowl today, folks.
77 on Saturday is a long-term forecast with an overnight low of in the 50s, folks.
The Texas Longhorns, thought left for dead years ago. The Texas Longhorns have resurged like a phoenix from the ashes to be 5-0 after playing absolutely nobody and New Mexico paint and body. The Sooners, coming off a 49-0 shellacking last year at the hands of the hapless Longhorns, went on to go 6-6 or something like that.
Well, they
Sooners
did
coming
beat
in.
Alabama with a third-string quarterback.
Sooners coming in 5-0. Yeah, they had that guy from Rudy.
Yeah.
That guy. He was playing quarterback. Who cares? We'll just beat whoever you put out there. Plus, when they're Alabama, you just assume their next quarterback's a Heisman guy, too.
Yeah.
He just wasn't.
Folks, we're going to be at the Bluebonnet Youth Ranch on Sunday night at the big fundraiser at Holy Family Activity Center. 5 o'clock, cocktail hour, $100. Dinner, open bar, opportunity to hear Gary Morris, Janie Fricky, and I think Frank Gilligan, Mason Dixon is going to be there, and a whole host, 7 to 10 entertainers in all.
Donnie
We'll
just
be-
told me to stay away from Janie Fricky. She
We'll-
said, I'm not going to make eye contact with her because she might remember.
She probably will.
Oh, goodness. What did
She
Johnny
won't, be
Hodden-
wearing, she won't be wearing that outfit because she's not going to be able to get the stain out of it. But we're going to be there on Sunday night, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think for those that are used to a dance at Schrader and the great entertainment that was there, I think this will be different
It'll be
and
really
maybe
good, though.
even more rewarding and
Oh,
intimate and a more memorable experience
Oh,
than anything else because you're going to get a glimpse of the entertainers just kind of sitting around shooting the bull and picking and jamming
it won't
like
be
they
a
like they would.
concert. It'll be
It'll be a performance, though.
I think so. I think it'll be one of those things where you'll be like, somebody will say something. You want to do that one? Yeah, let's do it.
Somebody will yell out from the back, "Play Freebird!"
Yeah, right. We got to go to the bathroom, play some Skinner.
White Trash Services are going to be there. Looking forward to it. We're looking forward to seeing you there as
Awesome.
well. Johnny Houghton says, just move to Manitoba and be re-educated, seeing as the NDP just got voted in with a majority last night. I guess they didn't learn anything from Alberta when they tried that experiment. Time to sell and
That's
get out of this
the new
province.
Democratic Party, which anytime they say new Democrat, that means communist.
Absolutely.
That's what it means. When they tell you it's the new Democratic Party, that is political speak for communist.
It's the Democratic People's Republic.
Right. That's exactly what it's
socialist. Bob Constantine says it's going to be like the after party. Yes.
That's going to be the atmosphere, Bob, is the after party that you've been to numerous times as well. So it's going to be fun. And by the way, let's mention right now while we're here that on October the 13th is a Friday. Do I have my dates right? Bob will tell me.
Next Friday.
Next Friday the 13th is Project Tickle Pink Casino Night. Tell me I'm right, Bob. At Club Westerner. $50 gets you in. You can have a great meal, a wonderful time at Club Westerner. Yes. Doors open, I don't know, I think it's like 5:30. It opens early. There'll be a meal. Then there'll be the fun of the atmosphere of a casino. And then at the end, you take your tickets and your prizes, and you have a chance. 5:30 to 10:30, Bob says.
Club Westerner.
Gives you the opportunity then to go buy things with your tickets and participate in drawings and raffles. It's a great time. None of that really matters.
No.
The matter is you're supporting Project Tickle Pink, which has brought so much joy to so many folks directly impacted by cancer. Very, very proud to be associated. This is Bob's swan song as the head Shaka Khan of the event.
Is that public yet?
It is to me, it's public. It is now. If you've ever wanted to attend and support what's going on, Bob is going to shove that down onto someone else because it's a ton of work.
Dinner starts at 6. Casino opens at 7.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
It'll be fun. And if you can't get there till 7, come on. I mean, they'll take your $50 and not feed you.
Give you all the chips you need.
There you go.
Can't eat them, though. Not those kind of chips.
You want to smoke? I got the hay.
Elon Musk topping the Forbes 400 list of America's richest people. Michael Jordan becomes the first athlete to join that list thanks to the Jordan brand. $3 billion is Jordan's net worth. Jeff Bezos, Larry Ellison, top 3 on that list.
Isn't that something? Larry Ellison of Microsoft, is that where he came from?
Question.
Is that not?
He wasn't. That was Bill Gates and
the guy that owned the Seattle Mariners.
Paul
right?
Allen. Yeah.
The guy that owned Seattle, he just left and just took Paul. Yeah, he just and
died though.
Yeah, but he was just
He
happy.
just left it. He just said, "Forget it. I'm going to go buy the Portland
So there's
Trailblazers."
Warren Buffett,
I think
Oprah.
so.
Who is Larry Ellison? Ellison
Got to be a tech guy though, right?
got to be Michael Dell. Hats off to Michael Dell. Michael Dell started selling computers out of his dorm room at Texas and decided, I don't need to graduate from college. Oracle.
There we go.
Dude, he's worth
makes sense.
$158 billion.
That's all in stock.
Sell.
Warren Buffett down to 4th on the list. I
But
think
he's
He's up from last year. He's up 1
years
spot
old.
from last year.
Then you got
Buffett's 93. I had no idea he was that old, and still lives in the same house he's lived in Omaha, Nebraska, forever.
yeah.
He's got a bunker and done some
He's a
renovations,
hoarder.
but still.
He's a hoarder. He's got newspapers in there from when Kennedy was assassinated. B. Small says he's the Ellison Island guy. He could buy it. New York would sell it to him at this point.
Probably
about that.
devalue it if that judge that's going after Trump has anything to say about it.
Have you seen that nut job of a judge? I tell you what, I am more and more convinced than ever that what Donald Trump is doing, I'm not saying it's not selfish. He wants to clear his name. Donald Trump is exposing the fact that if the Democrats can do this to him,
They'll do it to anybody.
imagine what they can do to you.
Yep.
Imagine what they can do to you.
And they will. They didn't want 87,000 more IRS agents to go after Democrats. They wanted to continue the weaponization of the IRS that began under Barack Obama.
Scott Tomko adds, I bet Buffett's had his house repainted a couple of times.
Just a couple.
Bob Constantine
You
always
can't drive on that block anymore.
Bobby C, always gracious. Strongly encourage everyone to attend the Blue Bonnet on Sunday. You'll have an amazing night. You will have an amazing night. If the only person that sings all night is Gary Morris, in that environment, you'll have an amazing night.
Absolutely.
Highly recommend you. Elon Musk, $251 billion at the age of 52.
Tops the
He's
list.
still got time to enjoy it.
Can't put on a cowboy hat correctly.
No, he's not. He's not a particularly handsome guy either.
Texas
Where's
and
he
Tampa Bay,
from?
South Africa originally, then Canada. He's got Canadian citizenship and maybe a couple other countries as well.
You guys
Kinda
claim
moved
him
around
he's a
little bit.
Canadian
Well, yeah,
now?
because he's the
He's an
richest man in
American.
Canada too.
He's an American.
Texas and Tampa Bay at 2.
America.
Toronto and how many of these series end today? Do you think?
No, Texas does not beat Tampa Bay today.
I think Philadelphia can win tonight and sweep that series.
Toronto's going to win. I think these series all go 3. I don't know about Arizona, Milwaukee. Don't care.
Milwaukee.
I'll
tell you
Philly
what,
and Miami. I think the Phillies win today.
real quick though on Milwaukee, watching them play last night against Arizona. If you're a uniform guy, it was a great uniform matchup.
Hank Aaron,
Arizona in their brick red or
Robin
desert
Yount.
red, and Milwaukee in their blue and yellow. How did the Brewers ever go from that blue and yellow, and their blue now is a little more navy instead of royal, to when they went to green and purple? Remember that? And
Yeah.
changed their logo up and everything. Just an idiotic move.
Was that during the
Bud Selig years?
Barney,
Yes.
the Barney years?
Maybe so.
Craziness. Folks, we've got to get out of here.
We do.
Special thanks to Congressman Michael Cloud for taking the time this morning. And thank you for taking the time to visit with us. We're very blessed to have you all. We
We'll see
love
you all
you.
mañana.
We'll see you mañana.
Bye, folks.